Hello,
Hello,
I'm Mark,
and I'm Joe.
and this is Finish Big. Yes, we are listing our way through all the big Finish releases.
Yes, and that has never felt more relevant than the episode we're going to record today.
Well, they have so many different ranges and they've tried so many different things, haven't they? That there's always going to be the odd thing where we're like, what is this? We've never heard of this. Or
I don't think in the entire run of Big Finish we'll ever say, what the hell is this, more than Earthsearch Mindwarp. Because I should tell you what, I've been online trying to find out some information about Earthsearch Mindwarp, or some reviews, or something on YouTube, because, everything to do with Doctor Who and Doctor Who spin-offery tends to be examined in some depth. Except this.
Well, it's its own thing, isn't it? It's not anything to do with Doctor Who.
But it's made by Doctor Who peoples.
Well, yeah, it's made by Big Finish. We are talking about Earthsearch Mindwarp this time, and just that. But before we go into it, shall I do the science part?
Science?
And just do the facts and the...
Yeah, go ahead. Science, the forensic part of this.
So Earthsearch Mindwarp was first released in June 2001 in 3 separate chapters. It then was re-released as a download only in December 2017. So it's still available now on download.
Why in 2017?
I don't know, they just decided to repackage. I think that's when downloads became more sort of available.
And then it went on offer in 2022, and Mark was really annoyed because he paid full price the day before it went on offer.
Anyway, it stars India Fisher,
yeah,
Leon Paris,
who,
and also features Colin Baker and
Legend.
Nicholas Courtney.
Another legend.
And it's...
Do you know what? That's not a bad cast, is it?
It's a great cast.
Oh, sorry. Please continue.
It's written by the same person that wrote Earthsearch. So Earthsearch was quite a highly regarded Radio 4 series, which was first broadcast in 1981, and then it had another follow-up, Earthsearch 2, in 1982.
Very imaginatively titled, I'll have to say.
By someone called James Follett.
Is it Follett?
Follett or Follett? I say Follett, you say Follett.
I bet you do, yeah. James Follett, yeah. Who, from what I can see, has written 20 books.
And then Mindwarp, Earthsearch Mindwarp, is based on a novel that he wrote.
Yeah.
So what I've read about Earthsearch, because we've not heard the Radio 4 thing, but that seems to be quite... In my mind, it was a sort of Asimov-y style, quite high concept sort of sci-fi series.
Yeah, I think it's something about AI taking over human civilization, and it's a spaceship that's looking for Earth, hence the term Earthsearch.
Yeah. And then, so this is a slight sort of prequel to those series. It's not exactly... I don't think it exactly fits in.
Well, you say a slight prequel, so I was just looking for anything on Earthsearch Mindwarp online, and I did find some Amazon reviews of people that had read the original book and listened to the original audios. And in one of the reviews, I won't name and shame who it was, they actually said that the audio really doesn't make the links to the original Earthsearch explicit enough. And actually the book, so this is Earthsearch Mindwarp is a book written by James Follett. Follett. And the book makes it far more explicit, like the links to the original Earthsearch. So I think somewhere Jaqueline Raynor's shoved all this in the blender to create an audio drama that is digestible and listenable on its own, but actually the book that this is based on, it's far more, it sort of links to the original Earthsearch story.
Well, actually, it says here, and I didn't finish my production things, so it's adapted by Jaqueline Raynor from the novel by James Follett.
Which is always a good sign.
And it does say in the CD notes, a prequel to the classic Radio 4 science fiction drama. And it's also produced and directed by Jason Haig-Ellery. So the big cheese got involved in this one.
Yes, now, may I say, that is not always a good thing, because I think Jason Haig-Ellery is... I mean, do you know what stories he's directed? He's directed some totally random things. The Rapture.
Well, he did a Tomorrow Person.
I think he... Did he?
People.
Yeah, it was the worst of the four. It was the one we said was the worst of the four. Sign of Diolix. He directed The Rapture. He directed Sympathy for the Devil. And I'm going to say flat out, yeah, I don't think Jason Halery is a great director. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a great producer. He's brought out 9 million Big Finish audios. Like, he can get these things made. But as a director of drama, do you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Bill Baggs.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, they're friends, aren't they? They all sort of hung around in those early days, didn't they?
Went to the same directing school then, didn't they? No, because Nick Briggs can direct.
Oh, yeah, I suppose
Gary Russell can direct, and they're all from the same pool.
But this is one of the earlier spin-offs or different ranges that they're deviating from the world of Doctor Who, and this was later broadcast on Radio BBC 7, so I feel like this is their first sort of dip into trying to get to a wide, rather than their Doctor Who CD buying niche audience, because we're in 2001 here. I think they're trying to produce a few things that maybe they can sell to be broadcast on Radio 4 for that kind of audience.
Okay.
I mean, if I was Jason Halery, that's how I would be thinking. Do you see what I mean? And let's use our Doctor Who people that we've got and try and get things out there and sort of go, not just do Doctor Who things. So this is a very early example of that.
And because this is like a well-respected novel, because this is a well-known
and it's
author,
already got that supposed audience, maybe.
Radio 4, people like that will pick it up, and then Big Finish's name will get out there. That's really clever.
Do you want to hear from the Follett's mouth? Because I've got a little quote. I'm turning the tables on you. I've got a quote from James Follett here, because he's written on the CD here.
I think it's Follett.
Okay, Follett then.
James, that's it.
Follett will now talk.
Well, he's talking from the grave, he's dead now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got some facts about him. I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. Mindwarp is the logical curtain raiser to Earthsearch, the science fiction series I wrote for BBC Radio 4 in the early 1980s. I was so excited that rather than await the outcome of a protracted negotiations for a new Radio 4 series, I got straight down and wrote Mindwarp in novel form, which is a good way of getting the story pinned down on paper. After Seven House published Mindwarp in 1994, I realised that adapting it for sound was going to be tougher than I imagined, so I kept putting it off. Thankfully, Big Finish are made of sterner stuff, and this is their excellent result, an audio version of Mindwarp the way it was meant to be in the first place.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't supposed to be a novel.
Well, I think it would have been the third Radio 4 series if he'd got around to it and everything. So,
have you noticed that in these early days, right, if they want to adapt anything, a novel or James Follett's work,
Follett,
they pull in Jaqueline Raynor.
Well, she adapted those early Bernice stories, didn't she? And we loved those.
We did like those, yeah.
And maybe she's a fan of Earthsearch. Who knows?
Maybe she is a fan of Earthsearch. I'll say this, yeah, that whether it's Jaqueline Raynor putting this through the blender or James Follett's original novel, the structure of this thing is very odd indeed.
So each CD is 45 minutes long.
Yes.
So they're fairly short. I was expecting something a bit heavier, actually, but they are quite light and easy to listen to.
Should we talk about the basic premise of this thing?
Yeah, okay, so let's just do we haven't done this before on these, have we? Spoilers coming up. If you haven't heard Earthsearch, stop now, download it from Big Finish, and then listen to it and then come back.
But don't whinge, because this is basically the only fucking review out there of Earthsearch. So be grateful that someone's actually talking about the thing.
So we have this...
Can I say it?
Oh, well, actually...
Can I say it?
Go on, you say it.
Adama.
Shall I just read...
To us, there is only Adama.
Shall I read the blurb from the first one? Because it does give a bit of a...
I think actually it's all the pertinent points. Well, not the twists.
I'll pretend to be Colin Baker reading this, okay?
Oh, okay.
And this is how the actual CD starts anyway, as Colin Baker's little monologue. Adama. A great domed city encased in rock, deep beneath the surface. Generation after generation of people have gone about their lives in a world of finite space and infinite resources. Never pondering the many inconsistencies around them, they have been taught not to. To them there is only Alama and Diablo, the evil land against which they fight an eternal war. And the outdoors? Well, that's just a myth. Something to frighten children A threat for those who disobey the guardian of destiny. No one questions why things are as they are. No one wonders if there could be something more until now.
Listening to that, now I know why they brought Colin Baker in to say that at the beginning and not you. So basically it's all set in this big underground city called...
Alama.
Sorry, it's just the way Colin Baker says at the beginning. We've been going around saying that for the last 3 weeks, listening to this thing. Called Arima. And we've got the two central characters who are...
So we have Ewan and Janine.
Ewan, as played by Leon Paris, and Janine, played by our favourite, India Fisher. And so Ewan is starting to question, isn't he? Question Arima and their way of life. They're governed by the GOD, which is the Guardian of Destiny. Effectively, it's like a big supercomputer that runs their daily life. Now, I think this ties into Earthsearch, where the Spaceship Challenger is run by an AI computer. So it's all sort of linked into the same themes and ideas. And essentially, the whole first CD is Ewan like dissecting their way of life, innit? And basically looking at all the inconsistencies of their culture.
Well, it sets up a good mystery because you have to get a feel for the world, and it does take a little bit of time. So they're underground. They're just in this dome. They have been taught that there is nothing else beyond like all the rock around them. There is nothing else. And
he's having dreams, though, isn't he, of the great outdoors? So they call it the big blue dome.
Yeah, so he's having visions of like the Earth sky, basically. And we have Nicholas Courtney, who is only in the first CD, as this. He's like their school teacher. He sort of knows what's going on, and he's not great. Is he?
It is not brilliant. It is not a brilliant performance. Well, because
I feel
he's got to play Nicholas Courtney when Ewan is a young man, like a child. Then he's got to play him when he's a full-grown adult. So he starts off and he just sounds basically like Nicholas Courtney. And then later on, he's kind of doing this old man voice.
I think it's just Nicholas Courtney old.
I think they might have just put some dentures in his mouth or something.
It's not great. I feel you can really feel him just reading the lines off the page in that.
Yeah. Which is not something you could accuse India Fisher of in this.
So India Fisher, who is Ewan's friend, and they're sort of the team that go along throughout this, she's just Charlie Pollard, Peril from Winter Be Adept. Yeah. She's got all of exactly the same energy. She's like, oh, come on, you, and da-da-da-da. Oh, no. Like, she's exactly the same. It's just India Fisher. And that is no bad thing for me.
I'm going to say two things about India Fisher in this. One is I think India Fisher just has one default setting as an actress. And that is this sort of bubbly, infectious... Charlie Pollard-esque character, and that's her wheelhouse. You know, that's what she does. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen her play anything different. No. Oh, she was even a bit Charlie Pollard when she played Charlie Pollard's evil Nazi sister.
Exactly the same. Yeah,
still bubbly and and secondly, she is the fucking MVP of this entire release. If she wasn't in this, I think it might be a little bit interminable. But what you've got is a really fun character who's effectively investigating all the mysteries with Ewan, who's really fun to be with. So she's where all the humour is and all the fun is. And she's like, gumption, let's go on a jolly adventure. You know, like it's her to make
it's not like serious. There is bits of humour in it. It's high. I call it high concept sci-fi. Maybe to some people it's not.
Do you know what I'd call it? I call it. It reminds me of sort of 1950s pulp sci-fi.
A little bit.
It's really leaning into like an out there civilization. Because I don't think. Well, it was called Earthsearch, so we know they're searching or their Earth's involved somewhere. But originally, in that first disc, it's all set on Arima.
Well, and they've been told they've got this war with Diablo, this other civilization.
But they drop very early that is all a lie.
You find that out in the beginning of the second one. So yeah, it's all set up where basically these young people are sort of chosen to be technicians. This is going to be your life. You're taken away from your family and everything. And some of them end up going on the front line to fight Diablo and are sort of never seen again. So there's this mystery there. I really like that twist where
It's a good
Ewan's
twist.
Ewan's brother is off as to fight the Diablons. Anyway, there's a big sort of trial thing. Ewan gets sent to the front line, and he thinks he's fighting a Diablon, and so sort of comes face to face, with weapons, and he shoots this Diablon, and it turns out it's his brother, and his brother's like, "Oh my God, you're working for the Diablons." His brother thinks he's a Diablon.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that, the Diablons don't exist. They've just been fighting each other without knowing. That's brilliant, actually. I did not see that coming.
As a reversal there, but then later on, when Colin Baker explains basically the entire plot, and boy, are we going to get there. He's like, we invented the Diablons because there are some things that we all need in life, i.e. something to fight against. And I was just like, is that it? So basically, Arima is a constructed society, and they've invented the Diablons to basically distract them from the fact that it's a constructed society. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, I don't know if anyone had questioned this before, but I mean, I'd question it straight away. If you call someone a bleeding Diablon, what a name! They could have thought of something else. Isn't a Diablo the thing with the stick, like a circusy thing, where you got that wooden thing and you've got a bit of string and you sort of rub it and it goes flying?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's a Diablo, isn't it?
I kept saying it's a diorama, but I think that's a small model, isn't it?
I'm not sure, yes.
Anyway.
So yeah.
But you know what it reminded me of? The Aramans and the Diablons.
What?
In this conflict.
Saursons.
No, It reminded me of the Atrions and the... Xeons from Armageddon Factor. Yeah. And actually, the way this was a sort of entirely interior society, that reminded me of Armageddon Factor as well. I could see this being made on the cheap during the Graham Williams era.
Oh, you've got here Alistair Locke, your...
What, does he act in it?
Well, he does the sound design, but he also plays a Diablon guard, apparently, in this.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've got to say, I did think that the sound design overall was pretty strong, and I think Alistair Locke can do no wrong. But can I just say, as a little divergence here, the music in this thing...
Well,
my God, it was the most
what you say about the music.
pulpy, synthy music I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, yeah. So, actually, the music, unusually, is by Leon Paris, star of Earthsearch himself. So he's
Not
very
you
busy
and
on
himself.
This. You and himself. So he had to do the music and act. And I don't think he did both very well at all. Because there's these moments where it's sort of like... this sort of romantic-y piano where they're having these monologues like, what are we going to do? And I feel like someone's going to turn up with a rose in his mouth.
Can you do me a favour?
Yeah?
Play the music.
Fun sharing your dream with you, Ewan.
You've tried to understand it, but you haven't shared it.
I think I have, the way you've described it. And if you think there's a life other than in Arima, then I want to help you find it.
You mustn't have anything to do with me, Janine.
Why not?
Because I don't want to be a technician. I don't want to be ordained.
And who says I want to be ordained?
You must, Janine. I have to get away. I have to escape from everything.
But not from me.
No, not from you.
Honestly, I feel absolutely bewitched after listening to that. The seductive electronic music of Leon Paris.
It's a bit sort of soap opera-y in a way.
It did sound like it had come from an episode of 90s Neighbours.
It's very strange. So part one, we're investigating with them, finding out about this world, what's out there. Part two is proper, more investigating. What was it? And they're questioning, and then they finally get out at the end of part two. I
thought part two was the best part because it kind of ditches exploring Arima. And then Ewan and, what's her name? Janine. That's such an 80s name. You can tell this is written in the air. Ewan and Janine are essentially, they find like a scientific base, don't they? Like an
they managed to climb out of this dome through the rocks and up and out. But it's a theme park. It's like a deserted theme park, which is really weird. Yeah. And there's like this roller coaster where it's like, I think this is what happens. They go up onto the roller coaster and up and sort of through the sky and out again.
Do you know what that reminded me of? When they were on the roller coaster? It reminded me of that scene in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when Arthur Dent and Slarty Bartfast were inside that bubble going down into the planet.
It's something like that, yeah.
But do you know what's nice about
That's-
it? What's nice about that whole episode is it's them kind of discovering the Earth's surface, but describing the whole thing in Araman terms. So like the Great Dome, Blue Dome and things like that. So I thought that was actually, in terms of like science fiction, it was taking stuff that we recognise and giving it a new slant. Because they were trying to understand it in their own terms. And I thought that was quite interesting.
And you had no idea where it was going to go once they'd got out and found this deserted theme park of all things. I was not expecting that. And they're in the restaurant and she's like, oh, order, presses the button and loads of soup comes out. And she's like, what's this?
No, she called it Salp.
yeah, things like that. I really enjoyed
Oh, it was really fun. And Jaqueline Raynor can do that in her sleep because she does that in Earthworld, the 8th Doctor novel, where it's set in the future and they've got a theme park that's all based on old Earth and they've got all the details wrong. So they've got dinosaurs rubbing shoulders with the Beatles and things like that. So Jaqueline Raynor can make that stuff really, really fun. Although I'm wondering if a lot of that's in the novel. I don't know. Maybe we should have read the novel.
Maybe.
I want to put too much effort into this thing. Do you know?
But then as it goes on, that exploration goes well into part 3.
Yeah.
And the majority of part 3 just carries on with that. And it's just Janine and Ewan
searching the planet's surface.
I mean, I know it's called Earthsearch, but they do a bloody long search. And then you get all this explanation right at the end of part 3.
Right, you ready for this?
Here we go. Go on, off, have your rant.
Okay, well, no, and I said to you, didn't I? I said, this is appallingly structured. Because, essentially, right, you've got 2.5 hours of this pair, like, earth-searching, and then Colin Baker comes along at the end, who's like, who's it, a great High Minister or something from Arima,
Cato Inman, actually.
and delivers a 15-minute exposition dump saying, right, now I'm going to tell you what this whole story was about all along. So, we did this, and you can explain all the details of that in a minute. But that is no way to tell a story. What should have happened is, as we are going on this earth-searching adventure with this pair, Ewan and Janine, they should be discovering the details of the story. A bit like, we've been watching an episode of Catfish recently, right? And the best thing about Catfish is you go on the investigation with the person being catfished, and you're shocked and horrified as the details are explained as it goes along. This is just the pair of them going, oh, well, what's this Salp? You know, what's this blue dome of the sky? And it's all that for 2.5 hours, and then Colin Baker comes along and explains the whole plot.
But I suppose you can't explain too much because it is about the mystery. This is the story. This is their society in part 1. Part 2 is searching, and you have to carry on searching because once you get the explanation, it's all sorted and it's done.
Yeah,
if you see what I mean. So
they
you
leave
have
the explanation late anyway.
But you have to have it late because that's the end of the story.
And actually, I thought then he's basically... So essentially, okay, Arima, this underground city. So back in the day, there was supernovas.
Yep.
Which devastated the Earth's surface and blah, 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 blah.
Terribly.
Anyway, they sent off 2 rockets into space, Challenger 1 and Challenger 2. Now...
To find another Earth, basically, for civilization to live on. Because
that is the Earthsearch story.
And that's Earthsearch of Challenger out there, yeah.
Trying to find the Earth again. But some of them stayed behind. I think not many. They said it was like 1% of the population of the Earth, something like that. They were ravaged by radiation from the supernovas. He calls the supernovas a misnomer because they kept the name supernova out of respect for old Earth or some bollocks like that. That's the sort of dialogue that we're dealing with here. Anyway.
Colin Baker does that very well. He knows what he's doing.
Colin Baker was a lawyer. He could absolutely deliver a speech, you know? And I say, he's much better as the kindly old progenitor of this whole scheme than he is as the Grand High Judge in the first episode. Anyway, so the Earth's been devastated. They're creating Challenger 3, and most of the population are sent underground and protected into Arima because it's basically to protect society, isn't it? Because
protects them all underground because of all these ravages. And I think he explains like people were like they built it because the supernova was coming, and then they were like, oh, actually, let's just live down here.
Yeah.
It's basically what
And
it
he
is.
says
They preferred
across
it down there.
10 generations, they actually forgot about the outdoors
Yeah.
and created their underground society around this GOD computer.
So essentially what we're trying to get at is this: when Janine and Ewan break out or escape,
This ain't a tomorrow, people, you know.
it's all been a bit of a test to see who actually can get past all of this, break out into the world, and that means they are qualified then to go on the next Challenger mission, which they are preparing outside. So it's all been a big hoax, really, in that underground city.
So this journey
That's
we've been on
essentially
with them
what it
is
is.
deliberate. It's
So it
deliberate.
is deliberate,
They want
yeah.
people to break out of Aramar, and those are the people that will be sent on Challenger number 3.
And then Ewan becomes the captain of Challenger number 3, which in a way that makes it the prequel, because then you could sort of see that Challenger in Earthsearch, the Radio 4 series, is them on their way after they've done all of this stuff on Aramar. So it doesn't directly tie, like we said, but you can link it up if you want to.
But, okay, where the drama is in this thing, isn't that Colin Baker has gone, ha-ha, you've done what we wanted all along and escaped out of Aramar. The drama of this thing is, should Ewan and Janine...
Who they've fallen in love and had a couple on. Is there a bit of a sex scene in halfway
Well,
part 2?
There ain't a sex scene.
I hear a zip opening.
They basically...
I heard a zip.
They basically just go...
No, she said... No, what's she saying? Oh, we better have some sleep or something. She's like, oh, I'm not tired. Zip. Something like that. You get that halfway
I don't
through.
think it went...
That was a bit of an extra bit Mr. Follett put in.
Yeah, Jaqueline Raynor, maybe. India Fisher was getting horny that day. Anyway, what was I saying?
Colin Baker.
No, the drama of the situation is in the decision of whether they stay or go. But we don't get any of that. The conversation we get 15 minutes of Colin Baker explaining the plot, and then we get 2 minutes of, what's his name? Ewan, basically, she goes, oh, well, we could have a garden and a house. And he's like, no, I'm going on a spaceship. Come on.
No, well, they're in love and they want to stay together. So whatever decision, they either stay or they go.
But we never understand the implications of these people discovering that the society that they were brought up in...
all take it in their stride. They're not really shocked throughout the whole thing. They are just like...
If somebody suddenly said to me... It's like the Matrix.
It's all like in 3
innit?
days, their whole universe has completely changed.
If somebody said to me, Joe, you're like the Truman Show, your whole life's a lie and you've been in a reality show your whole life and, and your partner is fake and so's your mother and so's there... I'd be like... What the fuck? I would have an epistemological quandary.
And he killed his brother in this whole fake Diablo thing as well, which he gets over very quickly. So there is a whole... But it's 3 45-minute episodes. There's only so much you can do.
Mark, that is 3 hours nearly.
I know.
3 hours to explore.
But I think this is more
Hang on.
This is the mystery.
Hang on. We had an hour-long Bernie Summerfield release set in Nazi-occupied Jersey that dealt with serious themes and strong emotional implications of things going on. They can do it in an hour. They can do it in 3. And I'm wondering if the problem is either the characterization of Ewan, who basically just, like you said, takes every fucking thing in his stride, or whether it's the performance. I don't think it's really there in the writing, but I certainly don't think it's there in the acting.
He's not strong as a lead in this.
No.
I should say, India Fisher props everything up.
No, but she does it. She does it through being excitable and enthusiastic.
But yeah, I'm listening for her when I listen to this.
She really puts across the implications of their entire worldview being deconstructed either.
No, not at all. And then you get the big revelation: Colin Baker's actually Ewan's father.
Oh my god, this is the funniest
as
thing.
well. Very quickly,
Mark said to me while we're listening, he goes, "Oh, for God's sakes!" Because all these revelations are hitting all at once. At the end, he goes, "Oh, and I bet he's his dad as well." And then, literally 2 minutes later, he's like, "And by the way, I mixed my DNA with your mother's. I am your father." I went, "No." I said, "You've been watching too many fucking episodes of Neighbours, I swear."
But it's enjoyable though. Although you don't have all that, it's a nice, easy listen, and it's much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a tough, complicated things. You know, I don't like
after
my
the first
complicated
installment.
things.
Yeah, I think we listened to the first installment several times.
Once you get past that and you get into that world, and I'd love to hear more of this world, and I want to hear the Radio 4 Earthsearch
Well,
now.
you've got it.
But I mean, I don't know if that is because
That's so old now. Mark's actually got the cassettes of it. Do we have a cassette player?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
But I want to hear India Fisher off into space. You know,
Well, you're not going to
you know?
know.
No, I know. But they could have carried this on. They could have done a bit more of original stuff if they wanted to. I mean, I doubt this sold very well.
They never did anything like this again, did they? All the spin-offs they did after this were Doctor Who related.
No, not
spin-offs.
until much later on when they did their one-off audio special. You know, Big Finish originals.
Oh,
I suppose
Not a Well
now,
Woman
I suppose,
and Emotional Intelligence.
That's drama showcase. No, you know, Shillington Sixpence and all of that lot.
I don't think that sold very well.
Blind Terror, all of those sort of download-only ones. I think if they were doing it now, this would be one of their sort of... Well, it's originally
I think their more
download-only
successful
things.
spin-offery has been of established TV shows like
Well,
Dark
yeah.
Shadows and Survivors.
But as
and
an
things like
early
that.
thing, this makes sense. If you're going back to 2001 Big Finish, I think this makes sense that they would try something like this.
Do you think this is very niche now, though? Like, it's a kind of unique thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, I'd never really heard of it. We saw it in a 2-bit shop in Brighton, this CD, like along with some other Big Finish
I'd known that
CDs.
they'd done it because I had heard of the Earth. So I'd never been interested at the time to get this, and we're only doing this because it's on our journey.
Yeah,
But it is funny though that the
I've-
moment we started listening to this, it went on sale for Big Finish for 48 hours, special flash sale out of like.
Mark was so annoyed he swore at Big Finish.
I couldn't believe so it comes up in their sales every now and then.
Well, they
must be
probably got some of the CDs to flog.
Well, no, all the
it.
CDs are out of print and not available.
Okay, well, I think you're a bit kinder on this than I am. I think as an overall...
I suppose you're comparing it to all of the other Doctor Who stuff you've heard and everything else, but if you...
No, I'm taking it on its own terms.
Okay.
But, well, may I sort of summarise the experience of listening to this?
Okay.
Well, because I think it is a bit mixed in how it's written. I certainly think it's structured in a very strange way. I think Jason Hay Ellery's direction is not great, I don't think. And do you know what? There was moments where the music was playing, right? And that musical track starts again. So it ends, and then you hear the musical track start again. And it's like, okay, this is early days for Big Finish.
Well, poor Leon, he's trying to act and press all the buttons and do the music at the same time.
I don't think he was acting and doing the music at the same time, honestly. And it is a fairly small cast, isn't it? So they are...
Well, it is, in a way, in terms of the main character.
For such an epic story...
I think they draw... Oh, it also features Michelle Livingstone from Sword of Orion.
Oh, don't you go on about her again.
But everybody else in it just has like one or two parts. It's really just the two leads and Colin Baker in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Stephen
would
Wickham
have...
is
I
the
would have
voice?
had the revelations hit at some point in episode 2. I would have had the characters go through the experience of, learning that their entire society is a massive lie, and actually sort of having some discussion about that and about how they're going to have to change the way they think and all of this. It is very quick, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit like, well, Blake, Blake 7, the first episode where he's out, where they're in that dome.
Well, it's funny you should mention Blake 7.
Because there are, there's a Tarrant in this, and there's all the names are very Blake 7-y to me in a way.
Did you know that James Follett wrote 2 episodes of Blake 7?
Oh my God.
Yeah, 2 of the most notorious episodes at that. He wrote Dawn of the Gods for Series 3, or Series C, I think they do letters on Blake 7, and Star Drive from Series D, the last season. And if you would mind indulging me, I've written down a couple of quotes from Doc Oho,
On Blake 7.
on his Blake 7
Oh,
episodes.
God, okay.
So, Dawn of the Gods, Doc Oho says, more like an episode of Star Trek where the crew have to try and figure out a way out of a spatial phenomena than a gripping slice of Blake 7 with all the affiliated drama, Dawn of the Gods is a curious piece, but never quite comes together, but cannot be said to not be trying.
Okay, which is sort of what you said about Earthsearch in a way.
It's very hard science fiction.
Well, that's what I get the impression that he does best.
Very. It's like a bulging boner hard of science fiction in Blake 7 terms. And then Star Drive. Do you not remember Star Drive? It's the one with the space punks.
Oh, no.
Do you remember?
Oh, I don't think I got through all that one.
And I said, like The Chase and Time and the Rani, though, its sheer awfulness manages to do a complete circuit and reach status of high camp grandeur that I am incapable of resisting. It's the episode where they bring in Barbara Shelley. She's the woman who played the religious nut in Planet of Fire, you know, the woman?
Oh, right, yes. Oh, yes.
She's in it as a scientist, right? And at the end, she gets blasted by radiation to get the spaceship out there. I'm not sure what the spaceship's called in Series D of Blake 7. It's not the Liberator anymore, is it?
Not
Scorpion, that's it. And Avon's gone so batshit crazy, they all say at the end, but Avon, what about Dr. Plaxton? And the camera zooms in on his face and he goes, who? And then it ends, doesn't it? I mean, and that bit makes me laugh every time. It's so over the top. James Follett, I respect you for that ending because it's amazing. Do you know, he's had an impressive career, this fella. Like, he wrote 20 novels. His first one was in 1976 called The Doomsday Ultimatum, and his last one was in 2009, which was called Hellborn. And that's a fair, like, most people don't have a novel published.
Yeah.
He had 20, and Earthsearch, Earthsearch 2 and Earthsearch Mindwarp are in there. I think Earthsearch was probably his greatest success.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we've known him for.
He died in 2021.
Oh.
And he his day job, he was a technical writer for the Ministry of Defence. So he was clearly...
Oh my God, Arima is real! Oh my God, that's what's happening right now.
Oh my God, it's under the earth! India Fisher's under the earth!
She's a government agent. Oh my God, it is something that you can see happening. It's probably not all these science fiction novels are probably all true things that he's had to work on.
I think, you know, when...
Challenger has been built somewhere secret.
You know, Malcolm Hulk wrote Invasion of Dinosaurs. Yeah. Ministry of Defence.
Yeah.
With the filing cabinet that goes down. There's a filing cabinet there somewhere, isn't there?
Oh no. We're here, Aramans. We're here. Come and find us. Everyone, look out for Aramans digging up through your floor. Look out for India Fisher. Hello, is anybody there?
Oh my God.
Hello.
Oh my God.
I need some soup.
Does that mean... No, Salp. Does that mean Colin Baker's?
Oh my God, Colin Baker. Well, no, Colin Baker's very clever. He's underground and he comes up here because he's leading a double life.
It wouldn't surprise me that Colin Baker was the head of this grand scheme to get us all off the earth.
He comes up to record Big Finish, then he goes back down to run Arima. That's why he knows so much about it.
He's not genuinely doing convention appearances, you know. He's nabbing those Doctor Who fans and sending them down to Arima.
Intelligent ones.
It'd be our time looking in Doctor Who conventions, I'll tell you.
If you ask him a scientific question, watch out, he's going to get you. Anyway. Well, I would recommend Earthsearch. If you want something a bit different, but it's still sci-fi.
I mean, we were going to start doing something on Finish Big now, where we were going to talk about Bargain of the Week, aren't we? Because there's basically...
it's not Bargain of the Week, because it's gone up to $12.99 again now for the download.
What? How long was that offer for?
It's like 48 hours.
Fuck me, you've got to grab these Big Finish sales quick.
Look out for this on a sale. It was like $7.99. I pay, $7.99. $12.99 for all three is probably a bit too much.
$12.99 for 3 hours of drama is not bad. Although I loosely use the term drama, if I'm honest. 12 hours of pulpy science fiction fun with India Fisher unzipping her clothes and having sex. I'm not too much sure what else to talk about.
No, that's it, I think, this time.
But I'm going to say it again, one last time, before we chip out of this episode. probably our shortest one yet, is that the structure of this bloody thing, honestly, that 15-minute exposition dump at the end, it's so bad, Chris Chibnall could have written it. I'm telling you. Unfortunately, Docoho did not review anything for Earthsearch, and you've got no chronology to fit in.
Well, no, just that this is pre-Radio 4's Earthsearch. And if you're going to do an Earthsearch marathon for you Earthsearch fans out there.
And we ain't going to do a quiz because we don't really know much about Earthsearch beyond Earthsearch Mindwarp. So, Mark, I guess you should just tell people where we're going next.
Where are we going next? So we are going to another spin-off series, a Doctor Who spin-off series. It's Dalek Empire Series 1.
I am Susan Mendes.
Oh, no. How many times are we going to hear that? Get ready, everyone. Written by, directed, starring...
music by...
what's his
name? Oh, God, what's that man's name?
Nicholas Bips. What's his name? Nicholas?
No.
Nicholas Briggs, I think.
Somebody.
I don't know.
He's written a few.
No, I heard of him. 500
stories or something. Written, directed, starring by Nicholas Briggs. Now, I'm going to say this before we even go into Dalek Empire. This is when Briggsy was in the zeitgeist. You know, this is where he was still considered to be producing stellar work. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So join us next time for that. And in the meantime, remember... Finish big!
Adama.